Welcome back to another episode of the Giant Topic Podcast. I am your host, Christian Cruz, and the Saints are going to get the win over the New York Giants 26-14, thus bringing the New York Giants to 1-4 on the season. Now, this was a flat-out embarrassing performance on all sides of the ball by the New York Giants. This was, in my opinion, a fireable loss. When you're the New York Giants, coming off of an impressive win against the 3-0 Los Angeles Chargers, facing an 0-4 Saints team led by a 5th-round pick in Spencer Rattler, who was 0-10 in his last 10 starts for the New Orleans Saints, after he publicly called out your defense ahead of the game. When John Mara just announced that he has cancer, you would think that this team would rally together and make this a statement game, thus bringing them to 2-3 on the year on a short week going against a division rival in the Philadelphia Eagles. Well, that's not the case. The Giants laid an absolute egg in New Orleans. They looked lost. They looked undisciplined. They looked outcoached. I mean, it was just, like I stated, an embarrassing performance. And the blame goes all around, right? I will say this much. Jackson Dart did not have a good game by any stretch of the imagination, but I want to say this now. I'm not going to be entirely hard on Jackson Dart. I was vocal when we drafted him, and I was vocal again when the Giants announced he was going to be the starter, that I will be patient through the highs and lows. I want to see Jackson Dart develop in this offense. I want to see how he comes along as the year goes, and I want to see how he looks going against some of these better defenses, right? Now today, again, he did not look good. He had 3 turnovers himself out of the 5 that we had on offense, but it's not all on Jackson Dart. I want to say this much. The New York Giants are a bottom 5 team in the NFL. Now, if you're a Giants fan, you already know this to be true. We're a bottom 5 team in the NFL. It comes to no shock. But when you have a team that's this undisciplined, where they lead the league in penalties right now with 22, going into this game, they had 16 penalties, which led the NFL. 80 yards they averaged per game in penalties. Game against the New Orleans Saints, they had 6 penalties for 95 yards. Drew Phillips, out of the 22 penalties that we have, has 6 of them. It's inexcusable. And this isn't a one-off thing with Brian Daboll. This is a constant theme with Brian Daboll, that he has his teams underprepared, undisciplined. They look lost out there. They look unmotivated. They look like they have no fight in them. Like, at some point, if you're John Mara and Steve Tisch, when do you say enough is enough? We need new blood in here. At what point do you reach to that if you are John Mara and Steve Tisch? If you have not already. Now, I know some fans are going to say, well, you got to give Brian Daboll a year. We saw what happened with Daniel Jones and Pat Shurmur. And while I agree to a degree, I also look at quarterbacks like Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, who are having good NFL careers despite the head coaches that coached them and drafted them into the league not being there anymore. And they have still found success. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to be the same story for Jackson Dart, but we have a large enough sample size to see that Brian Daboll is not the answer. He's just not. And it's really unfortunate to say that, because I am a Giants fan. While I have not seen 4 Super Bowls, I have seen 2. And I've seen what greatness looks like with this organization. I've seen a competent Giants team. I've seen a Giants team put out a quality product week in and week out. And my goodness, how far they have fallen from that standard. They are a bottom 5 NFL team. When I look at this Giants defense, the secondary was getting eviscerated by Spencer Rattler. There were some instances where you saw, some bright spots, but as a whole, the secondary looked cooked out there. Banks is getting penalties. Drew Phillips is getting penalties. Adebo is getting penalties. Guys are blowing assignments. You have Deontay Banks playing special teams. He had a 45-yard, I believe it was a 45 or 46-yard return, which, I mean, if you spend a first-round pick on a corner to have him as your kick returner, God be with you, point. It is inexcusable what we are seeing from this Giants team on a week-to-week basis, on a year-to-year basis. It is insane how this season, even prior going into this game, I said it too, where this season was over before October. And that is the theme for the New York Giants. I look at Darius Slayton. Not everything falls on Darius Slayton on the offense. My goodness. When you get paid the money that Darius Slayton got paid, which is wide receiver 2 money, and Malik Nabers goes down, there are expectations that you need to step up and live up to that contract. We've seen you average 700 yards a year during that Daniel Jones era. We've seen him be a quote unquote wide receiver one, who's really a wide receiver three. Darius Slayton had some crucial drops today. He had a costly fumble. What more is there to say? Bad teams find new and unique ways to lose, and that's what the New York Giants are. A lot of people put that flea flicker on Darius Slayton. I put a little bit on Darius Slayton. I put that more on Jackson Dart. He has to get that ball out earlier. He has to hit Darius Slayton in stride. It looked a little underthrown. There was quite a few underthrown passes by Jackson Dart. He's a rookie. He'll learn. He didn't have a good game, but I think Jackson Dart will be okay going forward, hopefully. Darius Slayton, I mean, he looked awful today. Same with Wan'Dale Robinson. We saw Theo Johnson and Daniel Bellinger getting some action. Theo Johnson now has 3 touchdowns through 2 weeks. He had 2 on the Giants' first 2 drives. The only points that we scored against the New Orleans Saints, we saw some action with Daniel Bellinger. But to me, I thought it was malpractice that the Giants didn't elevate anyone or bring in anyone to help this wide receiver room. They simply rolled out with Jalen Hyatt, Bo Collins, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Darius Slayton. And the results were what the results were. And I did say that when Malik Neighbors went down, that this Giants offense, they're going to need to make, obviously, some adjustments, but it's not going to be the same offense. It's not, and defenses are going to play this Giants team differently without Malik Neighbors. And I want to say this much, right? It's early, but when you have guys that are dropping balls consistently, not making plays for their quarterback, looking for the DPI call instead of fighting for the ball to get the ball on first down, you can't have that. You can't have that. It screams a losing culture, and that's what the Giants need to change. They've been stuck in this realm of having a losing culture for as long as I can remember, it feels like. And this loss is now their 8th consecutive loss on the road. 8th consecutive. The record for the franchise is 10. And I think we can all agree that they are going to surpass that amount before the bye week, just looking at the teams that they play. It's inexcusable. Now, looking at the offensive side of the ball, we did see some up-tempo offense. We saw moments where Dart looked comfortable in the pocket. He was able to manipulate the pocket. He was able to pick up some yards with his legs. He was able to, make some magic go on at certain points throughout the game. But outside of that, I mean, he looked like a rookie quarterback, so I'm not going to get too much on him. Defensively, though, like I said, the secondary did not look good. The defensive line, we got some hits on Spencer Rattler, but we didn't get any sacks on Spencer Rattler, which, when you're going against this Saints offensive line who was severely injured, that is inexcusable. It is inexcusable what we saw from this Giants defense, right? Now, I want to also say this much. A lot of people, when they saw that play from Rashid Shaheed for the 87-yard touchdown, automatically I remember seeing it on Giants Twitter. They wanted to know who was in coverage. Was this a busted play? And lo and behold, it was Tyler Nubin. Tyler Nubin has not looked good so far playing free safety this year. He's taken some bad angles. He's looked slow. He's had some bad plays in coverage. He has not looked good. He has not looked as advertised. And in my honest opinion, I do think that safety is a concern, as well as middle linebacker play for the New York Giants. Now, personally, and I know that this is where I might lose some of you guys, I do think that the wide receiver room is of a bigger concern than both the middle linebacker and the safety position. That's just me. If you disagree, I respect that. I don't have any issues with that. You won't hear me complain. That's just me personally. But just overall, this team looked abysmal against a team that they should have beaten. They should have beaten the New Orleans Saints. But at the end of the day, when you find new ways to lose, when you beat yourself and you have 5 turnovers on offense, when you have 6 penalties in a game for 95 yards, when you're getting outcoached, when your team looks unprepared, how can you possibly expect this team to win? And it's unfortunate because now you're coming off of a disappointing loss on a short week, and you're going to be facing the Philadelphia Eagles, who just lost to the Denver Broncos, who are looking to prove something. I mean, the Eagles just might have their way with this New York Giants teams in ways that we have not seen. And as a Giants fan, that terrifies me. But at some point, like I said, if you're John Mara, when do you say enough is enough? We've seen enough. You guys have to go. Is it at the end of the year? Is it in the middle of the year? Is it by the bye week? I don't know. I can't tell you. But to me, this was a fireable loss. This was a fireable loss. And it really starts with Brian Dable and Joe Schoen. From Joe Schoen missing on his draft picks and not elevating anybody from the practice squad or bringing players in that can help this offense and help this young rookie quarterback develop, to Brian Dable having this team play undisciplined, having them being outcoached on a week-to-week basis. These two need to go. We need some fresh blood in here. I don't have the answer as to who. I think it's still a little too early, but just not a good performance by the Giants by any stretch of the imagination. This was a flat-out embarrassing performance. This was something a lot of people, including myself, called a snooze fest. And this one stung. I will not lie to you. This one stung because there were expectations for the Giants to win this game. I see guys like Cam Scatterbo beating themselves up. Cam Scatterbo has been a lightning rod to this Giants offense. I'm not going to put this on him. He didn't have his best game, but even after that fumble, he was still running hard, still trying to pick up extra yardages. But let us know your thoughts below. How did you feel about this game? Do you want Brian Dable and Joe Schoen gone? How did you feel about Jackson Dart's performance? Let us know your thoughts below, and we'll see you guys on the next video.